Well, good morning. I am going to actually start before it even comes up because I've seen how long it takes. So hopefully you're hearing me, and I'm so glad you're back. If you haven't noticed, we're not calling it Tea with Mama D anymore. It's kind of confusing to people who, don't know me, weren't my students in the past or my families, but that's my nickname. I know I explained it when I introduced myself. But for anybody who's just kind of coming on and watching now or has seen, um, our Facebook posts or whatever and are joining me, I just wanted to share that with you. So for anybody who's watching who does know me as Mama D, hi, it's still me. But we wanted to call this instead Education, Leadership, and Life, because that is what we're all about at Aspire. And everything that God kind of calls me to talk about kind of falls into those categories, right? I guess we could splice it down, right? Parenting or this or that, but it really just all falls into education, leadership, and life, right? Um, so this morning, I want to talk to you guys about one of my favorite topics. And I love that it came up in our meeting yesterday with the team, and it's inspiration, right? I even get goosebumps just saying that. Favorite word, love that word. We all do, right? It's inspiring. We know what we feel like when we're inspired. We understand the importance of that in our core, but we don't really talk about it that much. And we don't really talk about how vitally important it is to have inspiration for us to grow as people. And that's kind of what I wanted to unwrap a little bit this morning. Is it is a really important topic to be intentional about, right? We all need inspiration, because how easy is it, right, for those of us to, all of us, to get caught up in our day to day. And not that it's bad, right? Like, I hopefully you love what you do. I know I love what I do. I love who I work with. I love that I can be out here on a gorgeous morning and make my office outside, because nature is very inspiring to me. I'm kind of jumping the gun here on giving you guys some ideas for inspiration, but that is inspiring to me, to be out in God's creation. It's amazing. But we need to be intentional, because that day to day, a lot of times we can lose sight of the inspiration that is surrounding us, right? Maybe we need to be more intentional about it because there are habits we want to change, maybe habits that we want to start and know that are good for us, and we really want to get in the habit of, right? Or maybe there's some habits that we don't particularly like. A friend of mine hasn't watched any television, anything, for months now, months and months. That's awesome. That's truly awesome if you want to do that, right? um, I think it's just difficult, right? It's so difficult for all of us that if we're not inspired in a variety of different ways, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, right? Because I'm never going to leave you hanging, right? We're going to talk about different ways we can be intentional about it. But if we're not intentional about it, so much of that doesn't happen. Inspiration is a key component. It it really is kind of the foundation almost for changing habits, uh, doing things with the joy and passion, right, that we feel. And that leads me to, sometimes inspiration really can come from inside when we know that we are following the path that we're supposed to be on. I know when I am following God's plan, there is so much more inspiration. There is so much more, there's the ability for me to tackle those struggles or those walls that come up, or the difficulties, right, that might come up, whether it's business or personal. It's so much easier to view them in such a way that we can problem solve, as opposed to, you know oh, what did I do? And or dwelling on, right, our inadequacies, or dwelling on the problem itself, or who created it, or how it came to be. Instead, inspiration allows us to look past it, to find ways to solve the problem, find ways to think outside the box, right? And by doing that, oh my gosh, the growth that we have as people, I'm getting goosebumps even just talking about this. It's amazing, right? So we need to be more intentional about it. And how can we? What are things that we can do to be intentional, right? And to make sure that we're getting that. For me, when I am not in God's word every day, I notice a difference. So that is very inspiring for me. It is a absolute necessity for me, and I can feel it. If I miss a day or here or there, constant prayer and really just talking to God as part of my life. He is here and present, is huge for me. But there are times where, it really, God knows us so well and loves us that he needs to put people around us, right? That help us to be inspired. So one of the intentional things that you can do is take a look at your relationships. Take a look at your friendships, your acquaintances, your maybe somebody new or reintroduced in your life, put in front of you. That just happened to me recently. I can't even tell you how incredible it was that God kind of reintroduced someone into my life that, I mean, it's probably been 10 years. And she is within like a brief conversation, just the connection that I felt and the inspiration that I have just from talking and sharing with this woman is crazy. And I know it's from God, right? Because anyway, that there's inspiration everywhere you look, right? So being intentional about looking at your relationships and seeing, where are you putting your time in those relationships? Are you putting your time into the relationships that are inspiring you, or that make you want to be a better person, that make you better? I talk to my kids about that all the time, and my kids, right? In all the teens that I work with, really make sure that you're investing your time and your heart and your mind in those relationships that are feeding your soul and that are making you a better person. And by saying that, that inspiration is a part of that. Now, do not be like, oh, this person makes me, happy, or, makes me feel good all the time because they tell you anything you want to hear. Okay. Be careful of that. That is not what I'm saying. Right. That is not what I'm saying, because the idea here is to be inspired to be the best we can be. Okay. So that's why the title of this, and I wanted the word grow in there. Everyone needs inspiration to grow. So the goal here today is not just, oh, I'm so inspired, and then that's it. No. All right. The idea here is to be inspired so you can grow as a person and you can live the life that you're meant to live, right? And develop your passions and actually feel that grace and that power of God, that you're on the right path, right? Um, there are so many times that we get caught up in what we're doing, and then problems hit and this, and we go, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. There's just too much. Well, again, if you're not a Christian, I totally understand, but your belief system, um, I believe this to be true for a lot of faiths, but that's because I'm trying to do everything in my own power. And that's not the way it works, right? So for me as a Christian, it's a reminder. It's like, the Lord's kind of knocking on my, head, my little bit stubborn head saying, hello, I'm right here. Okay. And so that for me is inspiration, but also he provides those mentors. And that's where I'm going with this. I am a huge proponent of mentors, and having mentors in a variety of different aspects of your life is phenomenal if you're blessed with that. But finding mentors and are vitally important. And a lot of times I'll share with my teens, but also for us, you want to be looking for at least having one mentor that's at least 10 years older than you. Because the wisdom that comes from experiencing life, you can't substitute for that. You just can't. You know, having, perfect example, like having homeschooled all my kids through high school, 2 out of college, there is just so much more that I've learned, and I had 4 kids and they're all very different, that you can't absolutely substitute for that. You just can't, right? And so what when you're homeschooling your littles, right? That's awesome. But until you come through things, right? And as you're going through them, it's really, really hard for us to kind of see the other side, either because we haven't been there or we're so bogged down in our day to day. That is where mentors and having them inspire you is so important, right? For a mentor. One of our team members said that yesterday. Logan was right on with that, right? Every mentor he's been inspired by. And it's so, so true. And so you really want to look for that. Now, mentors also, they are going to inspire you, but they're not going to just tell you what you want to hear. Okay. So that's what I meant by too, looking at your relationships, and I'm not telling you like cut people off or that type of thing. No, but you do need to be intentional about where you put your time, right? And who you spend your time with. And, maybe one of your friends that inspires you is going through a tough time. Well, obviously, then, hopefully you're both inspiring to one another and you're helping them. So I just want to make sure we understand that. So where else can we look for inspiration aside from mentors? I think we can really find it also in what we choose to watch, what we choose to listen to. What goes in, I tell my kids this all the time, what goes in our eyes, in our ears, what we think, saying things out loud is huge. What we're speaking out loud. So not only are we physically saying it, but now our brain is not only forming the words, but it's also now hearing it again and going into our brains. So I am a huge believer in positive self-talk. And one way that you can increase that inspiration is reading things out loud. I know people are gonna be like, are you nuts? No, just tell them you have dyslexia or whatever. Because I'm telling you, it is so important. Okay. Now, and let me tell you a story about this. This isn't necessarily inspiring or was inspiring, but I hoped it would be. So, okay, total disclosure here. So when I was practicing law and I was working on some really big cases, I was just a few years out of law school and I was handling some kind of major stuff. That's a whole nother topic. And any brief or motion or anything that I wrote for these cases, because I was handling all of it. I was writing everything. I was handling everything in court for some really big clients and cases. I read out loud. I absolutely did. I constantly was reading out loud. Now, yes, okay, this is why I'm kind of laughing. Yes, my brain is connected to my mouth. I do understand that. I do. But because I understand that, and because I know the incredible potency of me hearing and speaking it and then hearing my words, how that affects my brain, and the fact that I know that, I took advantage of it. So you would hear me just all the time whether it's in my office, at home, anywhere I was, I would be out loud saying my brief or talking. When I would prepare for court, when I had time, when I was a local prosecutor here, I didn't have time. It was like bam, 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 get the facts, go to trial. It was crazy. That worked on other skills of mine. But here's the funny story. So I was still in the midst of these cases, but one of them, the biggest case, the most really crazy case, I had filed a motion for summary judgment, or a motion to dismiss, excuse me. I filed a motion to dismiss. This was a huge deal. I can't even begin to tell you what a big deal this motion to dismiss was. And it was my motion, so I argued it, right? I have to argue first, and then the other attorneys, because there were many on the other side, got to say their piece. Well, unfortunately, the way life works, and because the other attorneys found out 6 weeks before my son was due that I was pregnant, I kept it a secret because I knew they would play games, and they kept doing delaying tactics. I got a call while I was in the hospital. I actually had to stay in the hospital for a little bit after my son was born with him. And I had to get wheelchaired out to a payphone. Okay, I'm dating myself a little bit here, right? There weren't these, lovely things. Or at least, there were bricks. But anyway, I get wheelchaired out to a payphone because I had gotten a message from the clerk, the judge's clerk, that she had decided to be going on vacation. So she had to schedule the motion for 1 week. So, by the way, yeah, I kind of almost died having my son. So this wasn't like a minor thing. Plus, any of you moms out there, you're so hormonal, right? All of it. My son was happy as a clam, but didn't want to sleep, yada, yada, yada. And I had to argue that one of probably the most important motions of my law career, prior or since. And my husband was going on a business trip, and my in-laws who live close by were both working and away out of town working. So I knew it was going to be me and my newborn son and this motion. Now, thank you, God, for having a wonderful, wonderful judge who made it call in. It was conference called. We didn't have Zoom, right? But in that week that I was home, little over a week, my husband would come home from work every day and find me saying my motion out loud and speaking it to our son. I know it's a little bit longer story, but anyway, a little insight into me. Yeah. So my husband walked in. The first time he heard it, he just stopped and looked at me and he goes, "You are ruining our child." I don't think so. He's a pretty smart guy. I think it was good. But I kid you not, I was saying my motion is, "Your Honor." I would do it in this like sing-songy voice for him, and he loved it. He was like laughing and kicking. He didn't know what I was saying. It was just the tone, right? Oh my gosh. But I'm sorry, to me, again, that was inspiring. I know this sounds kind of weird, but I knew the power of my brain and what I was hearing. Yes, I do remember my original point. I got to bring you guys back to it. It matters. It matters. It matters. But that even inspired me, like even just having him there. And I knew he knew nothing about what I was saying. And it was just fun. And that brings me to the next thing. Inspiring. Go have fun. Have something fun. Do you guys see what's behind me? I didn't even realize it, right? Until I was getting ready to come on here and see you guys. But do you see like my husband's latest acquisition? I think I'm pointing over here. So we play Frisbee golf, and that's something we love to do just as a family. Go out. No, my daughter, not so much, but she'll walk along. She'll be like, "I don't want to play, but I'll be out here. It's fun. We'll walk." But the point is, we'll go out and play. And of course, my husband and my sons are good and try to get better. And I'm very competitive. Don't get me wrong. But you know what? I enjoy just being with them and stuff. And I haven't gotten to the point with this that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna really get better at this. Okay, well, now my husband goes and buys this thing so he can practice putting and practice the short game and stuff. And we've got some land around us, and so he loves to go out there now and practice. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's kind of inspiring in a way. because it's fun and we go out and have fun. So fun can be truly inspiring. And I want to share this for all you homeschool moms and new homeschool moms, or even your kids are even in school. You can also get so bogged down and have such horrible self-talk, right? About, oh, I should be doing this, or they're not learning this or that. And there are days where you're all at each other, nothing's going right. I highly recommend some inspiration, right? And it helps you to grow. It helps you to grow closer. It helps you to recognize and grow as a parent, and see what really motivates your children, right? And just have fun. Just say, okay, that's it. Put it away. I mean, my kids were always like, yeah, what are we doing? Just put it away. Okay, some other things for inspiration. What do I do? Okay, another thing about me, I might have mentioned this before. I love sports movies. I love based on true story movies. Right now in the theaters, if you want to go, I just love that I can be back in movie theaters. 12 Mighty Orphans, highly recommend it. Based on a true story, awesome, so inspiring, pretty incredible. During the Great Depression, story of kids and a football team, and it's awesome. I really loved it. Okay, one of my all-time favorite inspirational movies that I go back to over and over again is, of course, Remember the Titans. Sorry, I had something in my eye. And I love that movie, but I am a big fan. Miracle, amazing, right? Last night, I was reading. I knew I was getting tired, winding down, but I really had that feeling of, I wanted some inspiration. I watched the ladies online. I found the Olympic trials for gymnastics because the Olympics are coming up. Okay, can we talk about inspiration, please? What a wonderful thing we have starting on Friday, by the way. Friday. Yes. My husband said, though, that the women's soccer team, if you guys we don't pay for lots and lots of gabillion channels, so we're kind of confined to the ones we have, but women's soccer will already be going on. But I think the opening ceremonies are to start at 5:30 p.m. Central Time on Friday. Already got it. I love the Olympics. Love them. You want to talk about inspiration? The stories. I mean, think about it, the stories that come out of that. I have to tell you, now I'm really dating myself. When I was young, I don't know, any of you remember this, look it up. Otherwise, you want to talk about inspiring, Eric Heiden and his sister Beth. I'm serious. I wanted to switch and become a speed skater. Kid you not. My parents were like, okay, let's hold on a second there. I'm like, my ankles are strong. I'm a dancer, and I'm a swimmer, and I've got the lung capacity. I was ready to go. I was ready to go. I'm like, that is what I want. That's what I want to do. And my parents were like, okay, all right, we're with you, but let's talk about it. Let's see, let's talk about what that'll take and what you're doing now. And you'll have to give all that up. And, they were good. They talked me down, but I was so inspired by them. So inspired. I'm inspired. I mean, oh my gosh, by so many sports. Okay. And the stories, but it's not about the victory. It's about the struggle. It's really about the struggle that led to that victory and how they grew, right? And what they used for inspiration to get through the struggle, right? And to move forward. And you see that. Okay. So you've got one of the most inspiring things coming up, the Olympics. Actually, today, for some of you, this might be incredibly inspiring. Just today, Jeff Bezos going up in space with his brother Mark, and the youngest, Damon, I think is how you pronounce his first name, the youngest to ever go in space, 18 years old, and the oldest, Willie Funk or something like that, I think is his name, 82. So 18 and 82, and Jeff Bezos and his brother Mark are heading up. Blue Origins, they are going up. I think it's supposed to take, let me see if I remember, 11 minutes, just 11 minutes just. That's incredible. That's so cool, right? Vision, what he wanted to do, has the money to do it. That could be incredibly inspiring. I have a nephew who, I kid you not, this boy knows just so much about planes and space. It is his passion. It is his absolute incredible, he has gifts too, and just so smart. This is incredibly inspiring to him. When SpaceX, I still remember, right? All the different SpaceX launches, and I just love that. That's inspiring to me, right? Hearing about that and seeing someone like that, and knowing that someone is passionate about something and seeing them revel in that. That's inspiring. You can find that with your kids, right? That's incredible. When you need inspiration, you want to talk about inspiring. As a parent, that is one of the places I would say, outside of looking to God, my kids were the most, and still are, the most inspiring thing for me. Um, and it's amazing to watch. And it's, again, it's not just about their victories, it's also knowing what they did or how they struggled and how they grew as people to reach that victory. um and knowing that intimately. Wow. Right? Hopefully your spouse, what they have sacrificed or done, or really you can find inspiration so close to home. And your friends, family, get to know people, get to know their stories. Having said that, oh, I have to share this with you. We are going to launch, I'm going to do a second live, and that's what it's going to be all about, is inspiring stories. Oh, yeah, this is just completely, this whole topic has really, it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I know so many young people that I've worked with over the years who are so inspiring with what they're doing, what they've done, and they're college students. I'm not talking, oh, it's only going to be about people who've written a book at age 6, or, although that is incredible and it will be people and all of that, but it's also true, again, it's about the struggle and moving through that. So watch for that. We're going to be launching that. We were thinking about this Thursday. It's going to be on Thursdays in the evening, but I think it's not going to launch. We're going to launch it like either next Thursday or after that, but I'll let you know, not this week. All right. I'll make sure to keep you posted. So anyway, we really can find, what other ways? Oh, books. Oh my gosh, books. Okay, let me throw one out to you. I have to share this with you because it really made my heart so happy. This book I'm going to mention to you is one that I use in my critical thinking class that I developed and taught for many years, critical thinking for emerging leaders. And this book was written by a man named Andy Andrews, and he wrote some other books as well that are phenomenal. The Traveler's Gift, phenomenal books. But this one in particular, called The Noticer. And there is The Noticer Returns, which is also very good. But The Noticer is one of those books that I go back to continually. And I just heard a mom just shared with me that she and her daughter, God, I'm going to get teared up. I just love when God uses me. And I had recommended this book a while ago. I didn't even remember it. And we're not close friends at all. We just know each other through a homeschool listserv. And she shared with me, and it was such a blessing, that she is about to read it again with her daughter. And I just read this email last night, and having this talk today, and because of the perspective that it gives. And that's the big word for The Noticer, about perspective. And that's what inspiration does for us. That's exactly why we want to find it wherever we can. That's what it does for us. Inspiration gives us perspective. Inspiration allows us to pull ourselves out of this trough sometimes of worry and anxiety and all of the muck, right? And whatever happens is happening in our lives. And it allows us to kind of get lifted up just a little bit out of that and give us some perspective, right? Because it's so easy just to see the muck. And that book does a phenomenal job of that. And so in that respect, it's so inspiring and provides you perspective. And that book always brings up parallel stories from my own life. right? So again, it reminds me of to look and open my eyes of what's around me. And that is a huge inspiring thing that I said earlier for me, is changing my environment. Get out in nature, find a way to go somewhere if you need to, call a friend, family. Just tell them, just say, hey, look, I won't be any bother. I need to get away. I need a change of scenery, right? And get out. And in conjunction with that, something else that's just so inspiring for me and that allows me time to grow and to move forward is to kind of take that inspiration, but we have to do something with it, right? So here, I know you can't leave without me having action steps here. I know, right? No, not happening. So you got to take that inspiration. What are you going to do with it? You need to provide yourself with some time and some quiet and the ability to process that and just allow that inspiration to not only bring you up a little bit out of wherever you are, but then to see forward, right? That's where the growth happens, right? So give yourself quiet, give yourself time. We do ourselves such a disservice in this country. This is a little soapbox I have. We are always, and believe me, I do this too. We're so busy. We're too busy. And we look down on when somebody says, what are you doing? Nothing. Okay. There's this feeling in me a lot of times where like, I have to be doing something. No, 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 we do not. Okay. Christians, Jesus went out to be quiet, to be alone, to be apart. Those of you who are not Christian, same thing, same principle. Be out, be away, be quiet, to allow yourself that opportunity to use that inspiration and to look forward and to let your incredible brain find those solutions and moving forward. And then maybe even go back to that mentor, go back to a book because it's led you to another book. Maybe a growth point for you as you sit there and are living with this is that, wow, I really look at things from a negative light first. Maybe that's what comes to you. Maybe that is what you're like, wow, okay. If I look at this, how can I change that thinking? Go pull off a John Maxwell book off the shelf. I know that's a big one for me. He's a huge inspiration for me. Huge, huge. As a matter of fact, that's the main reason why I just love our Raising Future Leaders Summit. Go check that out on our website. But you guys really find what it is that you need. And one of the things that I know for me that is huge, aside from that quiet and that time, is having the right community around me. I talked about relationships earlier. Having the right community around me when things are in the muck and to bring us up and when we're not doing our good self-talk, because it happens, we're human, right? Oh my gosh, that's just silly for me to say. We all do that, but how quickly do we recognize it and get out of it? That's definitely a growth point for me that I've worked on for a very long time. So do I go there and my brain goes there? Yeah, but you know what? I know what to do for inspiration. I know what I need to do and I do it now, right? And that's the key, is doing it. I am beyond excited about the new group program and community. That's the key, is we're building community. It's just 13 weeks at a time. You guys please go check that out on the website. I would love to have you moms with me in that, because that is where, every other week I'm going to be giving exclusive content, helping you, especially homeschool moms or moms who are thinking about it, not sure. Your kids can be in public school. You're still going to get so much out of it. And because it's not just about schooling, what we forget is it's about this. It's about what we're talking about. It's about leadership and life and parenting and building an incredible foundation for learning. That's what matters. Whether or not you're homeschooling your kids in public school or private school, we all need this. This is it, right? And that community and group program, that's what it's all about. And I'm going to walk you through exclusively like building that foundation and building those steps. And then on the opposite weeks, it's just about us talking. I'll be there one-on-one. You'll get me one-on-one, ask me anything, and really get to know each other and share and really build a community and connection of like, not even just like-minded. Honestly, that phrase, I don't really like that. I think heart-minded is more what I'm getting at, right? As moms and as people. Um, because when you say like-minded these days, it's like, oh, you have to agree with me. No, that's not what I'm about at all, at all. But this is about heart and moms and community and parents. I don't even want to say just moms, dads too. This is about strengthening families and strengthening relationships and building, like I said, that incredible foundation for learning, right? No matter where that is. I didn't expect to get off on that. I'm sorry, you guys, but see, I'm feeling inspired, and I get inspired by others. I get inspired so much by learning and hearing other stories, and it is inspiring to me. It is, and I could keep going about that, but thank goodness I'll get to do that more when I'm doing my lives. Um, on Thursdays in the evening. Like I said, we'll let you know when launching. It could be next week, as early as next week. Super excited about that. But guys, I'm going to leave you with this and sign off. I know it's been a long time again. I have no idea. Find that inspiration today. Keep your eyes open. Pray about God giving you that inspiration, giving you that what you need, right? To pull yourselves up, because oh my gosh, it's there. It is out there. It is there. It is right in front of you in this incredible world. And as I look out and see this beauty that you guys have gotten to see when I've been dark, right? And I put what you could see behind me and what I'm looking at. Um, Look at your children, look at your husbands, your wives, your friends. Then think about, like, is there a book or a movie, or really just sitting in the quiet and thinking, right? Whatever it is, I wish you the best. I hope you have an amazing week, really amazing week. If you're watching this, by the way, I forgot to say this one, I did want to tell you guys, if you're local, I am doing a free workshop just to help as many parents as I can tonight in Palatine. It is at 6:30 at New Hope Church. Please come. Just come. Even if you're just thinking about it, it's homeschooling. It's called High School, A New Journey. Okay, so understanding homeschooling high school here in Illinois, understanding just what options there are and what it means, right? But you'll learn so much, even if your kids are in school, so you're aware, right? As parents, I think that's the key. I just want parents to have information so they can make the best and wisest decisions for their families. So come and join me. Also next Tuesday, I'm doing one that's more for homeschoolers, or you're considering, or new homeschoolers. I'm just calling it Education Options, Homeschooling, and the Law. Okay. Yeah, of course. Such a law geek, right? But join me if you're local and you're watching this. Come and join me. I would love to see you, love to meet you in person. I love that it's open now and we're getting to reconnect in person. All right, everybody, have a great week. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.